Should I put this up or not, Mama? Um, I because I grew up. I'm doing this because I grew up. Because I experienced being pure, eternal, absolute love. So I love all life because everything that I see in my mirror is everything that I am. I'm giving love to. Okay, so that's basic celestial creation mechanics in spirit spiral form of crystal power, eternal power to love all life. And so because I grew up around so many military people in Southern California, and I have an enormous love for me, so they experience the love in me, they experience in them, but they've chosen to put on a uniform and obey the rules because now they're wearing dog tags. So we know what a mutiny is. You must obey, because otherwise you're going to be put in a cage, right? What's called the brig, and for disobeying the abuser. So the abuser is Murder Incorporated. So essentially, what that means is that when you go in the military, easily translated is a battery operated war crime. That's why at the end of the Nuremberg trials, the United States was not officially on board with the Nuremberg Doctrine. And that's easily explained if you go to look at the transcripts. Because the guy that was the head of the wolf pack, Admiral Donitz, when he was put on trial for war crimes for using wolf packs to take down maritime ships, they're civilians, they're not military. And they die. And that's your blood sacrifices game. Okay? Because that's what the game is. It's a blood sacrifices game. And it has to keep killing numbers until it goes nova. It is a vampire without an off switch. That's your Metatronic death science. That's your Metatronic code. That's parasitic code. That's vampiric code. And the speed at which it transfers itself into healthy DNA cells to feed on your power. That's the quarantine. That's QI. That's victim-victimizer software codes. That's the basis of the quarantine because of how fast it will crash gates. That's why we have to reopen the gates. That's why it was manually done. Gate 12, ring a bell? Okay, so in this case, you have, apparently, according to this lawyer, I don't have any reason to disbelieve him because I know how this game works. That was my job. And so imagine that all the folks that are rank and file, like a private, a PFC, a corporal, a sergeant, a first lieutenant, whether you're in the Navy, right, and you're a commander, or whether you're a seaman first class, or you're in the Air Force, and you find out that when the United States Supreme Court issues an order to have somebody return, and you have the commander-in-chief of the military for which you are wearing a dog tag, okay, basically gives the middle finger to the United States Supreme Court. Isn't it true that the President of the United States swore an oath to defend and protect the Constitution? And upon which, when the Supreme Court of the United States issues an order, doesn't the President of the United States have to obey? Oh, now we're back to the obey of the abuser, the rules. So how will all the folks that are wearing military uniforms, the United States military, feel knowing that didn't they swear an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States? But the very commander-in-chief is a criminal, a war criminal. You see how that works? This is all staged. This was all staged a long time ago. Because when Bardo becomes known, it doesn't take very long for one star to communicate that to another star, does it? And why is it? Because of their failure to communicate cosmic, spiritual, genetic, environmental engineering law. And that's simple logic. That is a basic cell, which is a basic clock, which is a basic calculator, which is a basic vacuum temperature gauge, monitoring the temperature, which is the voltage meter, which is the speed of the echo recordings of the Echo Shea. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what the next move is as a counter space move. Your move on a black and white chessboard, game players, software development game players. That's why we're here. It's called checkmate, the call tones of checkmate. Recall, as in total recall. That's pulling crystal soul fragments in. And what happens? That increases the strength exponentially. That's why when you're looking at the stars and you're looking at nature and you're out in a forest or in the ocean, the exponential function known as the exponential function, which is the accelerator, which is your right foot. The acceleration in the speed in which you're learning because you're mapping larger maps. Your cellular processing speed accelerates when you're not on a phone, when you're not on a laptop and spending all your time looking at screens all day. And that's just the sum of it. That's why we're here. I know. The exponent is the accelerator. The crystal spiral. Accelerating, building a universe that is in love with itself. So that every life form is experiencing the first seed atom. And that's the law of seeds. This is the law of seeded race lines of communication to experience the first communicator, the first speakerphone. The first eternal field of consciousness is a crystal star. That's Crystal Sophia, the Grand Cathedral. Restoring the Grand Cathedral. Oh yeah, Mama. So yeah, it is what it is, and that's why I do as much work as I can. It's based on timing. Everything that I do is based on timing. Divine right sequences, divine right timing, divine right balance. Restoring balance, the speed at which we recover what's been lost in life force electrical power in every life form. That's the truth of it. Muave aya, salukale aya, aya mama.